All right, folks, welcome back to Lakers Latest, coming to you again from Studio City, California, where it is about a cool and brisk 76 degrees right now. It was probably up to about 87 or 88 today, and it's going to be very hot the next few weeks. So if you are living in LA or you're living in anywhere in California where it's going to be hot kind of all throughout the entire state, drink some water, make sure you're staying inside the cool air conditioning, make sure if you have a pool, go in it as much as possible. I don't. I wish I did. One day we're gonna manifest it. But yeah, everyone just try and stay cool over these next few weeks. But yeah, let's hop right into it. Go to some trade rumors. So again, at this point in the season, off season, you're kind of just taking specs and things you hear from any potential source or any potential mock trade or stuff like that. I saw one, and again, this isn't necessarily realistic because it was LeBron going to the Mavericks. But it did have Dalton Connect and salary filler going to the Nets. It kind of just was a little intriguing to me because at this point in the offseason, practically no one has any salary cap space left except the Nets. A couple other teams might. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the Nets are kind of that main one. And they obviously have their own situation going on with Cam Thomas. Are they going to pay him? How much are they going to pay him? How much is that going to affect their salary? But I think when you're looking at a partner that could potentially take on an additional salary, and if you were to add Connect, it probably would be the Nets. Now, again, at this point, there's no free agents that like the Lakers are going to sign that are going to be like huge contributors because obviously everyone's gone. But just getting one of the guys that kind of they have that could be kind of that extra space, because right now they have, I think it's Vanderbilt, Kleber, and Vincent. All of them make around $11 million a year, and not all of them are obviously going to contribute to the team. Like if you could get rid of one of them, ideally for me, preferably Vincent or Kleber, just because I think Vanderbilt is probably a better fit to contribute fully on this team. It will give you more added flexibility to add, in a potential trade, or whether that be during the offseason or whether that be in season during the trade deadline, whether that be if someone gets bought out, you can offer them a little bit more than another team. It gives you max flexibility when you salary dump those guys. And like I said, when you look at teams with cap space, it's the Nets. They're going to be one of the few teams that are going to have it. So, you look at Connect to the Nets, just off the top of the head, like if you just traded him to the Nets, what could you get for him? Possibly a young player in return, maybe a couple second round picks. Again, we've seen that the view on him is league wide down after his poor summer league showing. I think before that, you could probably still get late first for him, but now at this point, it doesn't seem that that's his value. But, if you I think especially if you attach him in any salary dump deal, that would definitely entice people. The question is, like, if you're going to get rid of him, who's going to replace him? Right now, I think the Lakers probably have that 7-8 man rotation. They could still use definitely another piece. But we're also still waiting for that big trade. Whenever that happens, I think we'll kind of get a better idea of how the rest of the offseason is going to play out after that, and whether you can have, you're going to salary dump someone, or are you going to keep that added flexibility? Yeah, so we'll see. So I just wanted to go to the next one, which is Malik Monk. So this is an interesting one. Obviously, Malik Monk is a very good player. He's a very solid player on a good contract. And I think that, there's been kind of rumors throughout the offseason, not necessarily of him being dealt, but of him being available. And basically, he's a guy who I think could be a pretty good fit for the Lakers. And I think you look at what would it take to get him. There are ways that you can get him. I think obviously you don't want to give up Austin Reeves, but that's something I don't think you're going to have to do in a Malik Monk deal. Now, I think obviously you can base it around Dalton Connect. You're going to need to give up more than that. You might potentially need to give up a protected first-round pick. But I actually did a little. I kind of work with it a little bit because this stuff is difficult sometimes. I went to the NBA trade machine, and I figured out, kind of toggled with it. What can we do? How can we make this work? This is what I came up with. This is the one that I got to work. I got Malik Monk, Dario Saric, and Isaac Jones to the Lakers for Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, Dalton Connect, and Adu Thiero. Obviously, I wouldn't want to necessarily give up Thiero, I think, in that deal. I think maybe you get a couple second-round picks, or at least a second-round pick deal in that deal if you're the Lakers. But there's certainly other ways to get him. Like, obviously, you can involve a third team, whether it be the Nets, whether it be someone else. There's definitely ways to get him. And I think, again, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think when you look at trade targets, realistic trade targets, guys that have been speculated throughout the offseason, guys that have been noted to be available, he's a guy that's kind of had his name tossed around a little bit. And then obviously you have DeMar DeRozan, you have Zach LaVine. It's a strange fit with all of them. So I think that one of them eventually could get dealt, but I think Monk is probably the most likely to get dealt out of all of them. But if you look at what it would take, obviously, like I said, it would be center and connect. It would have to be a salary filler, and you would probably have to give up a first-round pick. But I think when you're looking at guys that realistically could be available, I think he's one of the better targets, and I think you'll see rumors, not just for Lakers, but with other teams as the offseason goes along that could potentially try to angle and get a player like Malik Monk. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. We'll see if there's any more smoke as we come along the next few weeks. I think there's definitely a possibility there will be. But yeah, that was just kind of another thought on my mind of a guy that I think would be a pretty good fit in Los Angeles. Also a pretty big time player. He's been pretty clutch throughout his career, especially in Sacramento. So yeah, that's what I was thinking. So here's another thing I got that I found out. So this is very interesting. Basically, this is regarding DeAndre Ayton. Tim Legler has said, and to anyone that doesn't know, Tim Legler is an NBA analyst. He works for ESPN, or at least I think he does. ESPN's dropping so many people these days. It's hard to keep track of who's there and who's still not, who's gone. But he said that basically he thought it was possible DeAndre Ayton could be miserable. We've seen before in the past at other destinations where DeAndre Ayton has potentially, or excuse me, not potentially, but DeAndre Ayton has lost focus. He's lost motivation. He hasn't acted in the best manner. He maybe hasn't had the best, attitude on the court and off the court. So I think basically what Legler was saying was that, this is Los Angeles. This is a much more elevated atmosphere that he is now going to be in than Portland, even more so than Phoenix. Like, obviously, he made the NBA Finals at Phoenix, so he's obviously played in very important games, but the stakes on a daily basis in the regular season, even in the early postseason, are significantly higher in Los Angeles. So I think what he's trying to get at is the worry, and he's even said this. He's like, oh, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's that what if? What if he doesn't fit in well with the offense? What if he's struggling a lot on defense? What if he's not finding his footing on the team, finding his fit on the team? If those things happen, what's your approach going to be? What are you going to do from there? And he's essentially saying that, he's worried that DeAndre Ayton could be miserable if those things happen. But it's like anyone can say that about anything. If all the worst possible things happen, this person could be miserable. Like, yeah, of course that's possible. That doesn't mean those things are going to happen. And I kind of touched upon this a couple videos ago where I said JJ Redick's one of the most important things for him this year is going to be getting a motivated DeAndre Ayton every game, every day, defensively, offensively, and also, making him feel wanted. This is a guy who doesn't need the ball in his hands offensively. Not all the time. Obviously, he's not a distributor, but he needs that ball in the post, and you need to comfortably put him in positions where he is going to succeed on both sides of the ball. And obviously, he's not going to be a strong defender, but you just got to try and make him average. Just make him average. And offensively, play to his strengths. Get him in the post. Get him. He's not a horrible shooter. He's a pretty decent shooter, but put him in the best positions where he is going to succeed. And that way, I think you will get the best version of him that's going to be motivated, hungry, and ready to go. So that way, you're not going to hopefully have to worry about what Legler says about him being miserable in a certain scenario if things aren't going well. Put him in the right positions to succeed. Keep motivating him. Keep giving him that affirmation that he's working hard, so he wants to keep getting better. And I think that he could be pretty good. So we'll see what happens with Ayton. I understand where Legler's coming from, but I don't think that's going to happen, and I think there's definitely a chance he could be pretty successful his first year in LA. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with DeAndre Ayton. So it's kind of transitioned to my last topic, which is what needs to happen in training camp, before training camp. Before training camp, obviously, I think we'll want to see at least one more acquisition, whether that be signing someone or whether that be a bigger trade. But in training camp, I think especially when you look at teams that are trying to contend for an NBA championship. This is really when you kind of begin to grow that bond and build that chemistry. And I think this is especially important for this Lakers team because you're dealing with the first year of Luka Doncic, the first full year of Luka Doncic. Obviously, he was there last year, the crazy trade in season, and all this stuff is going on. And then you even had the Mark Williams deal, non-deal. So a lot of stuff was going on then. Obviously, he's had a full offseason to get his bearings together, get in great shape, be back hungry, ready to go. So I think a lot of it is going to be building that camaraderie with Luka. Obviously, he's now the face of the team with LeBron. LeBron is only going to be here for one absolute peak 2 more years, so it's going to be Luka's team. So Luka getting there, building chemistry with everyone, all the new teammates, getting DeAndre in there early, making him feel wanted, getting him to know his teammates and build that chemistry with them too. That those are the most important things. Like, these guys are going to practice together. Maybe they'll get in some fights, maybe they'll get angry, but that's okay. They need to get comfortable with each other, and they need to start building chemistry as soon as they get to training camp, because at the end of the day, they're trying to contend for an NBA championship. Now, obviously, I'm not saying like bad teams don't want to build chemistry. Of course they do. Like, the bad teams do. You want to get there. You want to know people. It's the same idea. But the stakes are significantly less high because the Hornets their training camp is like, they're not going to be good. The Jazz aren't going to be good. Like, some of these guys are vets who could eventually get traded. Whereas when you're building that camaraderie, that chemistry with a contending team, you know that most of those guys are going to be there the entire season, barring you making a significant trade, which doesn't happen a lot on contending teams. Maybe you'll make a minor addition, maybe you'll sign someone mid-season who's bought out, but for the most part, those things like just don't happen. You don't make a huge addition. So when you are a contender, it's really important that you can get going in training camp and really build that camaraderie and build that chemistry with your teammates, so that, as the season goes along, and especially by the time you get to the postseason, you really feel comfortable with everyone and you're ready to sit down, ready to build stick your feet in the mud and go to war with all 14 guys around you. And that starts at training camp. So that's what I'm looking for, especially with Luka. Want him to really build the relationship with everyone on and off the court. And those things are important. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I think those are the things right now, especially in training camp. But yeah, that's it for me tonight, guys. I will catch you tomorrow, and still then, stay cool.